Virgin Islands. They go after Jim Jordan hard about the evidence. But he doesn't care. He's going to rule with authoritarian power in the committee.
Wow, that was weird.
Because he doesn't care about justice, which it's kind of funny that
had a server. I forgot
all
my
of a
server,
sudden,
actually.
we're surprised that Jim Jordan's not
had a little
not
afraid
crash
of last
not
night
receiving justice. Oh my God! It's almost like you look the other way when his student athletes were being molested and sexually assaulted. It's almost like you should put something like that in charge of the Judiciary Committee. Here we are. Here we are with MAGA Republicans. Here we are with
MAGA, because they're just going crazy.
It's a fucking shit show. They're a bunch of fucking clowns.
And I think they know that they're about to lose
them to hide.
Even in certain states where they have
not only
way over gerrymandered.
Do they set the ball up on the tee? A lot of times they're swinging the bat for us too.
Right.
And every fucking time it's a home run for common sense, logic, and democracy.
It seems like hubris has taken over everything else.
Like this morning, Marjorie Taylor Greene introducing God knows how many articles of impeachment.
Yeah, thank you.
And right after,
they're right there. It's like their hubris is taken over for everything else.
Her up and dunks her in the fucking garbage with some of the best messaging you could get. I'm telling you, folks. I'm telling you, there's a huge opportunity here. For our country to make a huge wide turn in 2024. These people, all of their lies have damn near caught up with them at this point. They can't hide from the truth. It's obvious that it's all fucking political theater, the entirety of it. They don't believe any of this garbage. I mean, to think that the two women who are supposed to espouse Christian values in the House of Representatives by MAGA standards, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert, are now getting divorced.
Uh-oh.
Don't give me a lecture on sanctity of marriage. Fuck you.
All right.
You either believe this shit or you don't, and you people don't believe the shit that you're trying to force on the rest of us. I don't care if people get divorced. I think a woman or a man or anyone should have the right to get divorced for any reason they fucking want. See,
the GOP wants to go back to the 1950s when a woman could not do anything on her own. Remember that.
But don't be lecturing us about sanctity of marriage.
It's literally only been since the 70s that most women have been able to buy their own property. Remember that.
Or getting divorced and then making excuses.
There had to be a man
about the sanctity of your marriage. Get the fuck out of here with that nonsense.
And that's the problem.
Apparently, Lauren Boebert
always had to be a man involved.
Having an affair. This is I don't know. This is allegedly. What am I supposed to do? She denies it, so of course I think she's lying. Of course, anything these people say, you have to start with it's a lie.
Really?
If you're an ultra MAGA and you say something out loud, we start with it. That's a lie. That's where we start. But
I love that.
Lauren Boebert has been having an alleged affair with a white Christian nationalist pastor.
Wow.
Who has a family. Oh, how Christian are you motherfuckers?
Well, okay, I'm sorry. Her son.
Why do you think we don't want to
her son.
Why do you think people aren't going to church anymore?
Her son is doing the exact same thing she did.
Believe you. They don't believe you at all. And
because she's about to have she's a grandma. What? Oh God!
Fucking dumb. I know I'm pounding a drum here over and over, but folks, that is the biggest fucking lie, the biggest fraud that Trumpism has ever wrought on our country.
Thank you.
It's popular. It is not.
Thank you.
Just because there's thousands of fucking Russian bot trolls.
Thank you. There are plenty of trolls telling you it online. Ignore that bullshit because that's just not true.
I'm fucking tired of it. Especially
you want to see what they want to do. Here, let's take a quick look while he talks about what Lauren Boebert and these idiots are doing by actually showing you what Brian Taylor Cohen's actually showed.
Less than 20 people working today. Usually there's about 100.
This is Florida now, really 2023.
I'm wondering how they're going to get
right
this project
today
done without undocumented workers.
Y andamos todos agüitados porque no llegó ni una persona. a trabajar.
Literally.
Mi alma se mira, mira.
Today.
A esta hora, 9:30 de la mañana, esto estuviera lleno de gente, de muchos trabajadores latinos.
This has not been just noticed on TikTok. Not just been noticed on YouTube. Not just been noticed on Facebook. This is being noticed.
No hay trabajadores, todo vacío.
Ahora cuénteme, miren, los que quedan están sentados. Porque mira cómo está
I'm
el
getting
trabajo
a
ahí.
flashback of the
Los que
80s
quedan
in
están
California.
sentados.
I don't know
Esos son
if
los que
any of
tienen
you other
papeles.
people
Los
are
que
getting that
quedan.
same flashback.
Nunca había visto
I-
a
I'm-
gente sentado ahí.
I am getting a flashback of California in the 80s. I mean, this shit is dead on that crap.
Todo se mira de ese lado. Nadie quiere.
This is what DeSantis is going to bring to his start of his election next week.
Trabajo hay,
This is what he's going to bring.
pero la mano de obra se fue.
Es lunes, 10:15 de la mañana. Esta tienda solía estar llena de gente comprando, sobre todo este tipo de material. Y miren, como pueden ver, ahí está completo. Entonces, lo que voy a hacer es trabajar solo. Miren,
Nobody.
nomás yo estoy aquí.
Nobody.
Nadie sabe lo que tiene hasta que lo ves
Nobody.
perdido. Miren, para que vean, ve, estoy yo subido aquí solo. Nadie me está contando, nadie está nada. Saludos a Ron DeSantis y a los cubanos allá, no a todos los que están diciendo que se vayan, que no importa. Bueno, vénganse, ayúdame.
Some major developments in Florida where
Thank you.
undocumented immigrant workers in and near the state are reportedly boycotting the state's economy after Ron DeSantis signed a new anti-immigrant law that punishes businesses and local governments that allow undocumented immigrants to participate in the economy.
Okay. I'm not going to steal all of that. Go look at Taylor at Brian Taylor Cohen's, because it is perfect that he put that together, because it is just ridiculous.
Come to Missouri, you can get them.
It is crazy. It is insane
States are all a mirror image of this.
that he somehow thinks that next week he's going to announce
Republican Party
and put forth Florida as the key to the way we want all of the United States. Okay, you've got a state that literally is embroiled in lawsuit on lawsuit on lawsuit. Disney is suing DeSantis. The families in Florida are suing DeSantis.
Absolutely.
Book companies are suing DeSantis.
Right on the money, Marjorie.
He has the highest insurance rate of any state.
We have to be.
He has provably now got numbers that are showing there is an exodus in the state for the first time.
Oh my God.
There might actually be places you can buy along the Florida coast that may be pretty cheap soon because they seem to be sinking underwater. Or did you not notice that? Oh, seems it didn't get covered a whole lot that he was in Japan, I believe, when there were parts of Florida underwater.
Getting his red up just a bit because he's a little upset about.
I'm sorry, the bullshittery gets on my nerves
Losing benefits
because they so all the time.
Away from people.
Oh, I'm sorry, I need to move you to here, there. Okay, now we've got everybody.
Social Security.
But it's so ridiculous.
Away from the VA. Matt Gaetz is out there talking about.
You got Trump sitting there literally screaming, "Yeah, I took Roe v. Wade out. I took it out."
With his little
If you read the goddamn fucking
I don't know. I'm not sure what kind of
opinion
has, but apparently he's terrified of the ATF.
you understand that the hubris has got to end. And I think it's about to end. I think, yeah. Ooh, they still won in Kentucky. Okay. Yeah, Kentucky. Y'all keep that Kentucky up there. And Tennessee. You probably keep that up there. Yeah. Maybe part of the Carolinas you might be able to, but I kind of doubt it. I just have this feeling that 1968 partially happened, but we had a pandemic. So we didn't quite get all the burned down crap that we got in the 60s. But then again, this is a different type of a war per se. You know, it's not quite what it was in the 60s. I mean, for years after that, I saw the scars from it. Years after. I'm talking like 70s, all the way through the last trip that we took there in that neighborhood before my grandparents actually sold their house there in the 80s. There were still scars there from the 60s riots.
Which we should bring our focus back to the House as this debt ceiling fight continues.
So we didn't have that this time, but we're not done, because I have a feeling that there's a lot of students who have figured out how to get around a lot of the shit that these white supremacist, fascist idiots want to do.
The Republicans are miscalculating here.
Yeah,
they really do. I mean,
I agree with them.
They're fucking MO.
I agree. They're so over their skis. They have jumped the shark. They don't understand that it's a different world right now. There's a youth vote that is really strong.
And he's not going to take any ultimatums from
really strong
unless they bring a clean
so we'll see
bill. So if they want stealing fights for years to come, they better bring a clean debt ceiling bill.
Hold on. So let's see. He's talking. Yeah, he's talking. See,
that's the way I see
the other thing that don't be surprised.
100%.
I think part of the reason Biden is not running back because there is not going to be negotiations.
And invoke the 14th Amendment and pay off.
I don't even think he's going to invoke the 14th Amendment. I think what's going to happen slowly but quietly. Have any of you heard about the discharge petition that became viable yesterday? Anybody?
For the richest.
Anybody? All I've heard about it is there's no appetite for it in the Senate. I'm like, what?
Yes, it was the
what?
That has put us in
a clean
of our debt and deficit.
Yeah, bullshit. Yeah, McConnell wouldn't love it, but they know. They know. McConnell's already checked out. He's already checked out. He's pretty much kind of figured out that because of the two people who are going to be at the top of the ticket, his chances of taking back the Senate, even though the numbers are really, really with them, are pretty damn low.
Our economy, not yours, you motherfuckers.
And this is part of the reason why is right here.
That's what you're going to do?
These people not any longer saying we're going to go along with what you want, what you say. We're going to listen to what's on your lower screen here with the Ozempic commercials. And hold on. I got to get to the other station. Okay, they're actually in show screaming about.
At all. Fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them. Enough of this garbage. We shouldn't have to listen to trash.
Oh, did they talk to Trusty?
Have the authority entrusted in him by the voters.
Whoa. What's this? Hold on, because I know there's stuff going on.
We don't have to put up with this shit.
If you look at the Constitution, you look at the Presidential Records Act, there is absolutely no basis for saying that bureaucracy rules and the president doesn't have the authority entrusted in him by the voters to possess and to declassify and to hold on to documents.
Is that for public consumption? Is that because you say it's been untested in courts? A message to Jack Smith, really? You want
is that really what you want to do, though, dude?
That's simply not accurate.
It's not accurate.
Every area.
That's just not true. He's no longer the president. When he took that, he did not have clearance for it.
Can't do that.
Period.
Process for doing
the end.
Simply just can't exist in one person's head. That's just
right. You can't do it because it's in your my magical brain that somebody's because I'm such a narcissist. I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. Holy shit!
It's time.
I'm telling you, the hubris of these motherfuckers is catching up.
We got to get our messaging together.
You cannot keep doing this shit and expect people to just go along with it. They've gone overboard on the guns. They've gone overboard on this bullshit with taking our entire system hostage when they don't get their way because they are the minority.
I don't give a shit.
They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear that.
The county level.
But there's a reason you're in the minority.
No Trumpism.
Because you're not doing what the people want. You're doing something that nobody wants and what people know will never work. Because you can't show me one fucking place where the system you're trying to work with or trying to get to works. Show me one fucking place where it works.
On a side note,
where it's even true. Because it's not. It's a bullshit utopia that you're working towards that doesn't work. All we want to say is stop it, Republicans. Stop that. Let's go the other way and do it the right way.
Weeks ago, that
but you're so hung up on this bullshit religious crap, Afan, that you just know is the only way to go. You know it's the only way to go. I don't think it's going to work out very well. I just don't. I think we're about to have a lot of
Ron, listen. I want you to
losing.
To run because I want
losing. I think it's going to be a lot of losing going on.
Because he will. Because
it's crazy that you guys think that you're going to. 57% of Republicans.
You're a joke, Ron.
Are saying you're going too far.
Adds
you're not doing
literally
what people want.
Millions of miles on the road just in a single neighborhood every year. So it's a massive contributor to traffic congestion, greenhouse gas emissions, etc. And that's all because the parking isn't properly priced. The second thing I'd say about that is that often the parking isn't shared. And so you get, like, you see this a lot in Los Angeles, where you'll have a lot that is proprietary, that belongs to a particular business or a particular residential building that can't be used by anybody else. And what this adds up to is an environment where there is a lot of parking, but it's not always accessible to you when you need a place to park. And that's a really common problem. We don't share parking in this country. And that's another reason that there may be a lot of it, but it also feels difficult to park. And then the last one is that parking is hard to find. And it's, what you can look for, like Google Maps will tell you how long it's going to take you to drive just about anywhere. And it'll be accurate down to a couple minutes. But there is no solution for parking, right? Like, it remains this kind of opaque and unexplored.
I think that, I'm sorry, forgive me. I just see that parking is going to become another one of those pay for play things because you don't need a car. In most cases, yeah, unless if you're driving miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles away to have a house from your job, that makes perfect sense. But it's getting crazy to have just too many cars.
3 delegates.
Too freaking many cars.
Mount some kind of challenge on the floor so that way you can propel yourself to 2028. Listen to me when I.
It's about January 6th. This isn't about a previous election or the next election. They're smart enough to hear your words and to measure your sincerity and to know whether you're telling the truth. And I'm telling you that as someone who sat on the Intelligence Committee for years and used to be a defender of the
weaponized government,
and to watch their activity over the last few years, I completely believe you because I've seen it again and again and again. And probably the most concerning thing I've seen in Congress is this weaponization of federal agencies. We give them enormous power. You all have.
Sorry, I can't take it. This is the crap they're going to spew. This is the crap they're going to spew because of Donald J. fucking Trump.
Yes, I know.
Because the system is finally CRT'd its way into a circular motion where they're getting theirs taken and they don't like it.
Get him to run. I know.
So let's defund it. Let's take it away.
But I'm trying to get him.
Let's make the U.S. Somalia.
That's 3 months, folks, to try
to
run, and he won't do it.
I don't get why. What is this world you're working towards? Where only billionaires and you want the could you do me a favor, all of you? Jump on a plane and go on back into over Russia.
Man, we got a great show for
and go kiss Putin's ass and make him your goddamn king. Because everything I'm seeing screams that's what you need to do. You want a king. You want a white supremacist asshole. You want dear leader. That's what you want. So go on and fly on over to Russia. Join those happy people over there. And they are so happy. They are some happy ass motherfucking people. Just go over and ask how happy they are, because there's some happy people there. You will be surprised at how. Yeah, I'm being very fucking facetious. Very fucking facetious. See, yeah, it's kind of miserable over there. It's kind of fucked up over there. It's kind of shitty over there. I mean, it's not really as bad as like maybe the Korea situation, but
you're gonna get to decide who is the bonehead of the week on Twitter and YouTube on the community,
because it always
gonna break down
the people who want it the most.
Also, you can watch
once they see what it's like, scream that's not what they want, but they don't seem to be able to do it until they get it's that until it's yours. I don't care, not in my neighborhood kind of shit. I don't know. It's frustrating.
Honestly,
it's really frustrating.
Weird, and I know that this is really going to probably upset the chat a little bit. But here's my thought: is that YouTube? You know what? As great as the YouTube chat is, should we, and maybe we should poll the audience and talk about this for a while. Should we just go to Twitch? Should we just go over there instead of YouTube? I'm just asking. I'm just wondering, because I'll tell you that Twitch actually gives us an opportunity as content makers,
right,
for us
right,
to make money,
right,
without costing
you a whole lot.
Did you know that? Right. Twitch gives us the opportunity.
Right.
Gives us the opportunity to make money without costing you a single nickel if you're a Prime subscriber. Here's how it works. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, what you do is you link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. I've got instructions. No need to fret. I've got instructions. You just go to theTonyMichaels.com. That's theTonyMichaels.com. It's like the fourth link down.
It all his.
Amazon and
Please
Twitch.
do.
Here's what you do,
connect
folks.
to his.
You got a Prime account. You link your Prime account and your Twitch account on Amazon Gaming. You get one free subscription on Twitch.
And you can give it to whoever you want. So I'm going to let him finish off that, because I'm still a little frustrated with.
You know what I'm talking. It looks like a penis. Have you seen it?
Okay, because it's just it's crazy.
Is that also something in the symbol guide?
Anyway,
yes.
You get a few dollars.
And how about this one? Really got me. The Betsy Ross flag.
To Twitch with your Amazon.
Was the Betsy Ross flag in the terrorism symbol guide?
It was.
And what about the Betsy Ross flag makes someone more likely to be a violent extremist?
I wish there was a reasonable explanation for that question.
There isn't. And people blew the whistle and said,
okay, these people are just
Go to theTonyMichaels.com.
It's going to be the clips that are going to come out of this are going to be fantastic, because the unfortunate part is just before that whole thing started, mostly what these guys that are testifying to popped up, and we knew it was going to be like this again. Untrustworthy people that we should not be listening to are the people who they put forth. As if there are not two sides to this. I am not saying that the Democrats are perfect by any means. But when one side wants kings, queens, and fascist bullshit that we know does not work anywhere in life, anywhere.
As the Missouri legislature is wrapped.
Sorry, show me a place where it works, and I'll let's go. Come on, let's go live there. Because I can tell you right now, no.
Right back, right after this.
right back. Mark, 60 seconds. This is the Tony Michaels Podcast.
It's just crazy.
Are you numb and alone after left out in the cold after stealing Nancy Pelosi's mail?
I'm trying not to jump back into that dumpster fire that is that
And thanks to my new product, Blanket, I've got you covered.
Hold on. Let's maybe hold on. Is it
who also helped with the attempted coup? Pardon Blanket.
Hold on. I'm trying to see if
sort of soft fleece
it's on
made in the USA.
Yeah. I just have a feeling this is not going to be
99. Actual pardon's not guaranteed.
Hold on. I'm just trying to see. Hold on.
This is the Tony Michaels Podcast.
Just trying to look at one little thing. Hold on. Oh, okay. No, you're not. Okay. So they are only showing them here. Oh, boy.
Was in September. So when we were traveling, it was summertime, essentially. So we had basically summer clothes, but then we were basically stranded in Wisconsin, which is where we're from. It gets cold there pretty quick.
Well, I'll take your word for it. I'm a Florida man. But what was it like when you had to go and explain to your wife that you didn't have coats for your children?
Okay, hold on. I'm going to just go back over here
Thank you for inviting me back. It's always fun.
Yes, well,
they
I
are.
Talk to you.
She is a blast to have on.
Session closed,
and I'm just going to keep a little eye on the testimony too.
Before they came out of session, one of the things was IP reform, and when I saw that they lost their real big push for this IP reform, it was very exciting. And the reason why Missouri was really doing this is because there's been several referendums on the ballot that the Missourians have voted for over the last decade. And they have tried to overturn those. And the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court justice in our state has told them, you can't do that. That's not how it works. When a referendum happens, that's the voice of the people. That's part of the Constitution. You can't do that. You cannot like what the people of Missouri want, which is the case.
Yeah, they don't like any of that shit.
It just because you don't like it.
Right.
So tell us what IP reform is. Tell us what that is and why it is so important that not only in Missouri that it's blocked, but they're going to try this in all the states. And I know they're really pushing in these red states to up the voting age. They're really trying to get rid of referendums because they don't want the voice of the people. And the reason why is because they're not the voice of the people. It makes sense, right?
They're not. They are the vocal minority, even though they are elected as a supermajority in Missouri. IP stands for Initiative Petition Process, and it's the process that we go through to get around what our lawmakers won't do for us. So when we wanted to fight back for union wages, we beat them back. We beat back the right to work with the initiative petition process. We did the same with Medicaid expansion. We did the same with medical and recreational weed. We're able to get the things in Missouri that we want by putting these things to a ballot. And what they do, and you guys have probably seen somebody, taking signatures.
Basically, literally what she's talking about is the way we would have to run our system
and then
if we actually didn't have elected representation.
Missouri lawmakers and other
where we would literally, because at one point they were talking about doing it this way, where the only thing lawmakers would do is come along and put forth bills. And then every year we would vote on those bills. So the referendum would be pages and pages long. Think about that. Now, we kind of said, no, we don't want to do that, but let's actually put something to the side where we can still do that if we need to. And that's what she's talking about.
Forming is good, right? Mm-hmm. So they use this language to kind of, confuse people. And we know absolutely that they will use deceptive language on the ballot.
They will rewrite and then reword it so that no means yes and yes means no. And they love to do that.
Especially when they get some sort of radical MAGA Republican extremist as a Secretary of State. That way they can really make the ballot as confusing as possible. This is all their strategy. But even with those hurdles, even with those hurdles and even with the unreformed reform, like you said, that they want, they still can't stop Missouri. Missouri has done this several
aren't these supposed to be some high-end whistleblowers blowing some whistle about something?
Expansion, right?
What?
So I don't know. This is like going way back, right? So during the Obama years, I don't know if anyone knows this, but during the Obama years, Congress at that time reformed our healthcare system in this country. And really what they reformed more than anything was the health insurance industry. They wanted to do much more. They weren't able to do it at that time. But one of the things that was said in the ACA, the Obamacare.
Okay, I'm sorry. What the fuck?
If you expand...
What has happened in your life since you have come forward and given this information?
Well, thank you.
What information?
Beyond leaking my medical information to the New York Times and insinuating that I was under disciplinary action for shooting a firearm in my backyard inappropriately. I was also denied the opportunity to seek outside employment on 2 occasions, denied my training records, which in essence is denying me outside employment. The Inspector General is now aware of the illegal and improper gag order that was issued on me that basically told me that I was not allowed to speak to my family.
By whom?
About the existence of an investigation.
By whom was this gag order?
Colleagues is looking at this and watching this, and they have information that they think is subject to being shed light on with the American people. Do you think this? Do you think how you've been treated?
Again, by whom?
And that's why they laundered the information to me, and that's how I've been able to expose more things now from the outside.
Again, by whom?
From your interaction with Mr. Gates and how all of this occurred and all of the hardships you've gone through. If one of your really good friends,
this is not looking good. I'm sorry.
Mad that
because they would be talking about an individual person or persons or a group.
Well,
this is just bullshit.
Money.
It is levels of bullshit that is fucking believable that they would do this shit.
About it, and in fact,
and expect us to act like this is shit that we should care about.
Well, they passed Medicaid expansion, but they didn't tell us to fund it. So then they tried to not fund it, right? But I'm going to tell you what they're worried about right now and why they're pushing IP reform is because of abortion. Because they know that we are going to put abortion on the ballot, and there is 100% chance that that's going to pass in Missouri, just like it did in Kansas, just like it did in every state.
Michigan, I think Michigan, Idaho, I think Kentucky.
Yes,
and these aren't blue.
No, they're red states.
It just
we know that they're scared, and
yes, they're very scared because they're wrong. They're on the wrong side of this.
They're going to win.
Because this is nothing to do. I'm sorry, forgive me, and I'm going to give my 100% wrath on this one once and for all. Well, I'm sick of this because it's bullshit. It's a bunch of old white men giving you bullshit about the way this is. No, what it is you're a bunch of old white men who think your way is the only way or the highway. No, that's the problem. We need to stop listening to old fucking white men. We need to put you out to fucking pasture and shut you the fuck up. Because what you believe in is bullshit from a Bible and bullshit of something written by a bunch of sheep herders who didn't even know the fucking earth was round. Sorry.
It's part of the county that is displayed.
When the entire Bible can be explained in 30 seconds.
It's that show,
and just seems to be what? Good storybook, but nothing about it is actually scientific or repeatable. Period. Then I got a problem. And that's the problem. We are living by these idiot white men on this screen telling us that it's raining by peeing on our goddamn foot. And I'm a little tired of fucking getting peed on. To the point where I want to punch him in the fucking balls and say, sit down and shut the fuck up.
A lot of these Republicans that are elected to the
stop lying. Your bullshit is just that. You're full of shit. You'd have a much better world if you just sat down and shut the fuck up. It's like the reality of the fucking fact of the matter is if Trump had just taken the goddamn money that he sunk into all that shit he did in New York and just put it into the market and just left it, I mean, didn't even touch it, he would truly be a billionaire.
That we should have no red flags. No red flag laws in Missouri. They're like, we want all terrorists, domestic, foreign. We want anyone and everyone to be able to get a gun.
He ain't no fucking billionaire.
It's wild stuff.
If he's got $25 million to slide together at any time,
how it works.
Reason I'm almost 1,000% sure of this more than anything is his plane. That junk ass piece of shit that didn't get repaired until he could scam enough people in his pack to pay for that motherfucker.
Free and clear. We just gave them a seat with no.
And that's a problem.
But
because I believe maybe
in a primary,
it's Thursday. Could we possibly be looking at indictments as early as Friday?
You and I, we vote in every primary, right?
Maybe the reason Mr. Trump is having a conniption last night was because sealed indictments are about to start happening. And maybe that's why these guys are so desperate for a look over here, because there's about to be a, oh my fucking God. I can only hope, but it's really getting weird. Because the shit they're doing just is like, really? This is the way you want to go. You're literally proving that you're full of shit.
And I know internet trolls that hate you. It's these specific extreme members of Congress, especially the fragile white men that you tend to trigger with, I don't know, when you say the truth and you say it out loud, it really triggers them pretty hard. But you are working your absolute tail off in Missouri to get people on the ballot, to get Democrats to run, to find these candidates. So I know you're laying out this strategy in Missouri, and you're getting out there and you're talking to the people and you're really working hard to try to get some folks on the ballot, so people have a choice. They got liberty to choose between a Democrat or a Republican.
I wish this was like this in every state where we could get people like this.
Tell me, what are
because so many more states would
what
be
are you seeing around the country
getting so much better?
Other Democrats and other liberals in states to say enough of the extreme far right. Let's find some candidates. Let's give people the opportunity, because I think you're right. I think people do vote based on affiliation, but we're getting to a stage in history in our country, in some of these red states especially, is that they're waking up and they're seeing these extreme things. And a great example is the House of Representatives here in Missouri voted to defund all public libraries, all of them. And it was going to affect their constituents' libraries the most, not the ones in the liberal blue part of the state, right? Because the liberal blue part of the state has high taxes. They believe in funding libraries on a county level, so they do that. But it's the rural areas that suffer the most from Republican policies. It's their constituents. So what can we do? What can we do all around the country to point this out, not just in Missouri, but in other states? Where are you finding success in this?
So I'm working with Blue Missouri, which is an organization to fund down ballot candidates. And this is what we found out that, and I work with David Pepper,
I think this is going to happen with a lot more states, is that we need to get
the
good people, or at least people.
The Republicans figured out decades ago they didn't have to do anything at the federal level to chip away at the liberties of everyone in this country. They do it at the state level. They, radicalized
it started with schools
and Secretary of States, and then all of these representatives, and they're the ones who are creating.
They started with local schools. If you don't understand why we went to the school system the way we did, they needed to get viable voters first.
But it wasn't yesterday, right, Tony?
They've known this for years. 70s they started
this shit. They figured it out decades ago. And what's happened is it worked.
Right.
They were able to get SCOTUS. They were able to install people in government positions.
And I kept screaming, this is not going to go.
Right? This is big shit. If you can do it at a state level, if you can decertify election at a state level, that's big time. And that's what they're working towards. That's actually what they're working towards. So what I'm working with is, I know people, like I spoke the other day and somebody really wanted to talk about, Trump. And it's fine. It's fine. We need to be aware of the dangers of him and what's happening with him. But Trump is not going to impact our state like our attorney general will. Our attorney general, who wrote an opinion to take away trans healthcare from children and adults. Right. Now that failed because he's really bad at his job.
Like he is a Republican. These are very unserious people.
Thank God these people are just they're
like
they're
Eric
not
Schmidt,
serious.
He keeps finding out over and over again that the courts are not going to side with these crazy opinions.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, he wastes our time. He wastes our money. You can look at Michigan.
It's millions and millions and millions of dollars to put forth shit that is just not serious.
To pay teachers
in no way, shape, or form.
What is it?
Is it serious?
Michigan, what does she say? Big Gretch. She's like, fix the damn roads.
Yep.
They have policies. What are we doing here? Ban CRT. You're like, what the hell are you talking about?
Right. You can't make sure anyone and everyone can get a gun, as if that's a thing Missourians want.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
guns are in. CRT never taught in school. Out.
What's going on at the state level will
because CRT is not something that's taught.
There's Blue Missouri and Blue Ohio and Blue Texas. And
hate to tell you this.
People who have organized Blue Tennessee.
CRT is just a theory that is underlaid by the data.
The National
That's all it is. Sorry, and it's not data from America. Hate to tell you that. It's data from all laws across all countries since time immemorial.
Reason to send.
Sorry, CRT is not some American thing. It's uniquely formed heavily in America, but it's been around since time immemorial. Sorry, it's the reason some laws were even started.
We need a Stacey Abrams.
Because of
Stacey Abrams. She worked
race theory
decades. What happened there
because of creating races.
2 years ago, she got in there. She put in the work, and people just realized it at the end when it started making a difference. But she has been working actively with her people all these time. All this time. So when we say we need a Stacey Abrams, we do.
We got a great show coming up. Stick around for the aftermath. We have my my special feature.
Okay.
She did the work.
Well, I can't agree more because I've talked about on the show that the 2022 did not go the way of Republicans.
No.
One of the ways, most importantly, was the Senate. But one of the actual backstops to our democracy that people got out and made sure that we still had that safety net from autocracy and fascism is we made sure that in the state of Pennsylvania, in the state of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona, that we did not elect insurrectionists to the governorships, the secretaries of state, and the attorney generals, because they literally wanted to use those executive powers to overturn elections, even if the legislators in those states wouldn't do it. And we showed that there's a huge backstop there. That was one of the biggest losses. That's the red wave that they really talked about. I mean, they wanted to take the House of Representatives, which they barely did with a vote from fraudster George Santos. But really, honestly, the ones they wanted the most was Arizona and Pennsylvania. There's no other states that they wanted, no other races that they wanted more was than those two states, because they wanted to be able to overturn those states' elections in 2024 because they know it's coming, because we are working hard. And I really think that the presidential race is almost set in stone. I say it, and I've been saying it since January that it's going to be Joe Biden versus Donald Trump again. There's no question. I don't think there's any kind of back and forth. Ron DeSantis apparently is going to act like he's really running here in the next week or two. And I keep telling him, Ron, man, I want you to destroy your political career. Please run for president.
He's already destroyed it. I'm sorry. Florida is a
but here's the point.
Shit show right now.
I think
and that's the thing is it's going to become really clear how big of a shit show it is. Literally the minute he announces, watch a bunch of people who have nothing to do with Trump at all put out all these reputable things about how great Florida has not become. Just watch.
The Republicans,
it's gonna hit.
In North Carolina overturned a veto where the governor vetoed the banning of women's health care in North Carolina. They overturned it by just enough votes. I don't think that these things are popular. And because they're not popular, we can actually build a coalition inside these states.
Very much so.
That what you're saying is true.
Very much so.
Coalitions inside these races.
We very much need to make sure every single one of the Republicans are,
maybe the Democrats maybe the liberals in this country realize
somebody who's running against them. That's the biggest thing. And make sure that they've got money put up against them. That's going to be the biggest thing, is making sure that they're funded the right way and by the right people.
Bringing Gabe Sanchez, because I think he's got a question for you here, Jess. Gabe, do you have a question for Jess?
Hey, well, I actually don't have a question.
Oh,
what I
great.
do have though is I just want to say, I want to reiterate what Jess was just talking about and say, major props to the state level, local level type of movement and activity that's being done.
Right.
Because
this is the way we're going to have to do
something that
this
you said
because
is,
it's
people are like,
it's
"Oh, I
not
wanna
going to
stay
happen any
CA,"
other
right?
way.
But it's like it's not an overnight success story, right?
No.
Like you said, and the
Anyways.
same way I would compare it is to like an actor, right? That someone's like, "Oh my God, this person came out of nowhere," and while there are
Big
these
star all of a sudden, right?
they're like, "Where did this person come from?" Right? And I think that
they were in 20 movies before,
right. Years of training, years of school, years of breaking their back and auditioning and getting that one break that, set them on like the award kind of path. But I think in the same way, right, you have people that, and it can happen, right? There are these like outlier stories like, oh my God, this person's like an overnight success because they literally came out of nowhere. But even if you were to look at someone like, Justin Jones out of Tennessee, right? People are like, oh my God, where'd he come from? He's been there since he was a teenager.
No, he's been there for a
photos
while,
of him
yeah.
inside the office trying to get healthcare benefits for people within Tennessee, right? So, and that was, I want to say like 7 or 8 years ago when he was a teenager. So
he still looks like a teenager. Honestly,
yeah, he still looks young. But the idea that people are like, oh my God,
I get
this person, it's
yeah.
It's not sexy, like you said. It's hard work, right? And while you could look at certain, voting blocks and be like, you know what, it's not worth it. I literally cannot change your opinion. But in order to change the opinion of those around them or the generation that comes after them, like we have to put people in place that will care for, will put policies in place, will fight for those rights, right? And then again, it's going to take
some of it's geography, some of it's
a lot of the shit that has been undone,
right?
But at the same time, it's like it's gonna, there will be a flip of the switch. There will be a spark that's set, right? There will be the moment where people are like, oh my God, why did we not do this the whole time? And it's like we have been.
That's a great point.
Thank you. We've been doing it this entire time. It's just slowly but surely we're starting to see it.
They
did do this.
Yeah, I'm reminded of an old saying, and it says, you can pray for potatoes, but you're going to need a hoe too, right? I mean, you're going to have to work. You can't just pray for potatoes to show up.
Thank you. We have to actually get them planted, please.
I knocked doors, and I talked to people who weren't going to vote for me. They told me they weren't going to vote for me, but they knew that I was a person. They knew that I had decent, plans for them. So maybe they didn't vote this time for me, but what about next time?
Next time,
or someone
right.
who talks like me or speaks like me or
says the same things, and they go, "Oh, hold on,
exist in our spaces too."
Hold on,
and I always remind my people. I mean, I'm born and bred rural. I like it. My great grandparents, my grandparents, all of us were rural people. They were progressives. I mean, one of my great grandpas was in the coal mines, and he was organizing for better wages. Another one was a farmer who knew exactly what FDR.
Just because you want to be out in the woods doesn't mean you have to be backwoods.
Of our roots, reminding them that their parents and grandparents weren't necessarily voting for this sort of Republican.
Thank you, because you weren't backwoods.
You
didn't believe that this was the way to go.
Republicans. There should be a balance, right? We have a two-party system for a reason, because
I am so happy that there are people like her out there, and there are people like these guys.
But right now, because don't have a lot.
I look at all these other guys, and I'm just like, what?
You notice when I talk about Missouri lawmakers, there's a handful of them.
I get what you're saying.
Really
but
hard,
are you really doing us any good right now?
They're the extremists. I don't talk about my own representative, my own Republican representative who beat me. I don't talk about him because he's not an extremist. He has a couple of extreme views that I don't agree with, but in general, that's not him. He's a normal guy who went and beat the pants off me and got to Jeff City, right? And I'm going to argue with him on abortion and guns. But
good.
Everything else.
Good. I love her.
He's good.
I love her.
He's
not an extremist. Why am I going to talk about? Thank you.
Many of them at this point that we have to,
But you don't need to platform it. Yeah. See, I love her.
And you this, Tony.
Thank you.
Other people probably know this too.
Thank you.
We didn't get hardly anything done this session. Our own Attorney General Andrew Bailey and our own Secretary of State are laughing at their party, saying you're the supermajority and you didn't do shit, and the Democrats are laughing at you. And I'm like, yes, we are. That's hilarious.
You didn't do shit.
You have all the power, and you still
can't do shit.
Well, and I think this is because their ideas are so unpopular that they have to work so hard to try to dress them up to make them look popular. Is that
because everything that they put in actually gets them unelected?
They're so much time addressing these fake issues that aren't real. That
unfortunately,
no one really gives
I am going to run out.
No one is concentrated on it.
At 50 minutes and record the rest, and we'll talk to you later.
And they're like, why are you
it's
trying to pass bills that are going to affect 3 student athletes?
Short day.
What are you doing? You're spending a lot of time not only trying to push those bills, but you're spending a lot of time trying to convince us why it's so important. When you could be, I don't know, working on, like you said, trying to figure out how to fund education.
Thank
trying
you.
To figure out how to fund public libraries.
Thank you. Can we put money into these things so that we can actually have maybe a better educated society?
That
actually everybody wants to get to the next
the more
level.
We engage in our democracy, the more people come around to it. Because we live in an age of social media, and we live in an age where you have to work 2 jobs.
Maybe get to that flying car.
You gotta have 2, 3, 4 incomes per household. Even in Missouri, where to live is one of the cheapest places in the country, and people still in their households have 3 or 4 jobs per household.
Exactly.
Just
mom, dad, to get through,
and it's hard. But I can't tell you how frustrating it is that some of these people still don't see these issues. But I think they're getting it finally. Mm-hmm. They're finally getting that. Why in the world didn't we get this and this done? I voted for this person to get this and this done.
Right.
And they're focusing on transgender bathrooms.
Right.
Like what are
because
you doing?
they need to look over here, boogeyman. And the problem is the look over here boogeymen are no longer the look over here boogeymen that they need.
They say we're not a democracy.
Because their biggest look over here boogeyman was taken away from them. It's Roe v. Wade.
You're just representing.
Not only was it taken away from them, it's killing them.
Giving away the game.
It's hurting them. It's taking them the exact opposite direction. It is actually fucking them over. I keep screaming this. They are doing this at the last minute, as quickly as they can, as hard as they can, because they have no choice. They know unless they can get rid of all the youth vote.
How do we wave our hands around and be loud? Because they're
get rid of every they need to eliminate voting. They need to make sure that they can just appoint whoever they want to whatever seat they want whenever they want. And that's the problem. We are no longer in a democracy at that point. Hello? This thing on? We need to stop that.
You point to who is doing the harm, and then you talk to people. You have to, there's something called deep canvassing, and it's called that for a reason, because it's hard. It is difficult. You are reaching out and physically going to all of these spaces and knocking doors and talking to people. But politics have changed, and I've noticed a lot of folks don't like to talk to politicians at their door. They don't want someone knocking to talk about things. So social media is fantastic for this. What you're doing, making sure that the way we speak is speaking to regular people.
Right.
The way we talk is just like we would talk to our friends.
Get on shows like this.
Our house.
Sit around and talk with 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 constituents just like this online.
Someone is being
post that shit up. That's all you got to do.
Plain spoken.
Not joking.
Giving the truth and saying it over and over again, because people can latch onto that. I see folks.
Thank you.
And
guys, we will see you
Go.
tomorrow.
Good job, girl. Keep going.